How's
Can
it
you hear me?
going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Is the sound okay?
Uh, I think so.
Okay. That's what made me lose 5 minutes is I was looking for my microphone and
Is
headset.
is my
Either are.
hair okay?
Yeah, your hair looks great. Fabulous.
I think it's working. Sounds good to me. We'll find out.
Okay. Can edit it, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I keep going over like different like things, and then I was just talking to my assistant who has just gotten a full-time job, so I don't know if she'll be assisting me anymore, which I'm happy for her, but sad for me. Um, and reliving like my biggest life trauma, my biggest most recent life trauma, and I was like, yeah, we're not ready for that yet. Not live. You do really look like you're here to be my therapist though.
Therapy with Megan.
Okay, so welcome to Level After Next. This is like I don't know. It's a whole new show right now. I'm going to be honest. Have just I have too much going on in my life to continue with the interviews that I had scheduled, and the feedback I continue to get is that you really kind of like more of the more conversational pieces of the show. And so I was like, what if I just start calling friends and being like, hey, can you record with me? The thing is that I'm pretty sure Megan and I have a full podcast all on our own. So I don't know. This may just
Oh.
this is gonna it may lead to a spinoff, but we talk about so many things in our conversations and stuff, like just over the phone and voice messages. I'm like, wait, can I like record that and just play it for people? Cause it's so good. Okay. So you've been on the show before, but just like background Megan. I know I can't even do it justice.
Back.
Family,
Okay.
children, like what a day in your life is like. And yeah, we'll go from there.
Okay. I'm Megan Rearer. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I have 4 children, and 2 are special needs. 3, one is medically complex, and I will say 3.5 are neurodiverse. So, meaning that the oldest he struggles with some things, but I wouldn't say that they impact his daily life as much as others. So I have been an entrepreneur since I was 24. I was a hairstylist, left and started my own business as my own hairstylist to build it around my family and their needs. A day in our life is like a really hard question to answer, but it includes a lot of driving around. Our kids all landed when we moved here from the Midwest 3 years ago in schools about at least 20 minutes from home. And so extracurriculars, friendships, all of that are out that way on top of the Children's Hospital and their combined 30 something specialists. So we have appointments intermixed in most probably 2 to 3 days a week, plus school and everything else, and then medical stuff at home. So that's kind of like a day in the life in a nutshell. I currently am spinning all the plates, but took a solid break off of entrepreneur life and just kind of let it run its course for about a year off of social media just to kind of regroup. And I was just massively overstimulated by the world and realized I needed to learn how to exist in it. That feeds my soul, and also where I can show up using my voice the way I love to use it.
If you are not liking what you see on social media, all you have to do is tell me and I'll send you memes for like a solid 4 days straight. I am not joking. Like my girlfriend said something, she's like, "Don't you just get depressed?" Look, and I'm like, "No, are you kidding me? All I'm looking at are like funny ADHD memes, moms who are funny, and baseball stuff because my dad and I
Yeah,
send each other baseball stuff all the time. I'm like, let me hook you up. I'll change your algorithm.
I love it. I'm here for it. So I'm on TikTok as like a stalker only. Maybe one day I'll do something over there, but they have curated my page to all the things I love: therapy, childhood trauma, some really inspiring quotes,
It's because they're listening to our conversations.
nature, and some really, really hilarious people. So I was like, oh, they nailed it. But I have friends on there, so that's how they nailed it.
I know. We would be able to stream to TikTok, except for that my daughter got my like main account shut down because she, I don't know, kept taking my phone and posting on it. And they're like, you are too young. And it got shut down. So now I have like 20 followers on TikTok. And I'm like, I don't really feel like it so much.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe we'll get there.
Yes, I think we could.
Okay. Well,
Memes and laugh our head.
just talk about the memes. Did you finish watching the show?
Yes.
Okay.
Obsessed.
Like we have meaningful things to talk about, but this is somewhat meaningful. So we like to help each other find the good shows. I still can't find the one you told me about. I don't think it's on Netflix. Euphoria?
Yes. I'll find it. It's on, is it on Max? It might be on Max.
Max. Okay. So I'll find it, but it
Diet.
does
She's fabulous.
it does kind of sound like softcore porn, is it not? Oh, it kind of is.
There's not like tons of actual sexual scenes in it, but the storyline of addiction is pretty intense and dark. So, I mean, depending on what I would say, trigger warning for those who have walked through addiction with people or
Trigger warning.
Yeah. And my girlfriend did tell me.
Let's just name a podcast trigger warning.
But what I loved about that, which I've already told you, is I'm excited that our world is doing more around showing the layers and complexity of a neurodiverse human and just like their experiences. And there's a lot of contrast in that show. And there's a lot of like collective neurodiversity, but there's a lot of contrast of like, even between her and her sister, how she takes in the world and how her sister can live within the world. And they're very different because neurotypical, it's very different. So I'm excited about that, especially for my kids.
Yeah, I think this is actually, I was going to go talk about the other show, but I think that this
No.
is actually.
Oh, because it's in the same vein, like, and it's also a woman who's convinced, hello, Kristen Bell, love her, that no one would be that into her, which is hilarious to me because she's so endearing and lovable.
Yeah. It's called Nobody Wants This.
Perfect title.
I was sold in the first like 10 seconds. And I had told Megan to go watch Emily in Paris. And I was like, it's really meh. And then all of a sudden you are like obsessed with it and have to keep watching it.
Which is what I heard from all of my girls that are like on the same page. Like, it takes a bit to get into. And I was like, I don't know if I want to waste my time taking a bit to get into.
It's just that there's something about like the flighty, like non-issue life and Paris and the dresses and like all of that, you know, it's very.
Yeah, that's like any period piece for me. Like, what is it called? Come on, you know it.
Bridgerton.
Nope. Which, yes, but the other one with
that everybody loves, because I haven't seen it, if that's what you're talking about.
Gosh, I'm blanking on the name, and someone listening to this will be like, I know what you're talking about.
Downton Abbey?
Nope, it's newer. They're coming out with their second season in a couple months. And it's in the vein of Downton Abbey and Bridgerton, but it's like about whatever. I'm going to screw it up because I suck at period pieces, but I love the clothing, the glamour, the like lifestyle of a woman's role was to just like have 40 people working in their home managing it. When you have that level of wealth, I'm like, oh, this is fascinating. So I love it for those, like, it's a good storyline and character development too, which Emily in Paris doesn't sound along that stream.
No.
Anyway.
I'm like, yeah, I'm annoyed. Okay. I was into it. And then like at the end of the last season, I was like, that was annoying. I'm annoyed. But
so I should give up on it before I start basically.
No, I want you to watch it so that you can be annoyed about the same things with me. Like, I just am like, get rid of these stupid boys. I'm so annoyed.
I feel like I have enough annoyances in real life. I don't want. show to add that to me. Add to me.
So this show, I was like, oh my gosh, I barely had started watching it. And I'm like, halt, cancel. This is the show you need to start watching. And
I think one day.
Yeah, same, which I'm so sad about because it's on Netflix. And now I found out I can watch Netflix while I ride my Peloton. And I'm like, apparently now I am a cyclist, like a I'll be on my bike all day.
If I can binge, it's better than snacking. So win.
It's like I feel like it's a total life hack, and like everyone's gonna be like, yeah, mom's really into working out, and I'm like, I am. I got to go get my 2 hours in on the bike.
It's why I want one of those just like mini treadmills. Have you seen those, like a desk treadmill? Because you can like literally just walk and work or walk and like watch a show. And I'm like, I could get into that. That sounds
Right.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I box of podcasts, but you know, if your podcast runs out before your walk, it's quite an annoying interference.
Okay. And maybe I'm sure it's something to do with my neurodiversity, but it's like the thought of listening to a book or a podcast while exercising does not appeal to me in the least. However, if I'm listening to a book, I can be like, oh, I'm going to go be productive. And I'm like, this is so great. But I can't it has to happen on accident. What's up with that?
I mean, that's for sure an ADHD brain. If it takes a lot of energy and motivation to get on the Peloton or to go out for a walk, then something else that's pulling on like our motivation, stimulation, which we listen to business and self-growth podcasts, right? Like therapy podcasts. Those are going to pull more energy when we're already using a lot of energy reserves to cause movement. So, but it makes sense if like putting on a book is relaxing for you, and then it motivates you to take action on something that's been overwhelming because you've been procrastinating it because it's signature to ADHD. And all of a sudden now you're like, oh, I think I have the energy because your brain's mellowed out from the book. So it's like where you're engaging and what energy you have to give where.
I think
all in mind off, because sometimes you find a pattern, you're like, this works, and then it stops working.
It stops working. I'm afraid of that. I think part of it for me is like, especially if I'm thinking like working out, like out running or walking. I've never been an outside walker, wasn't an outside runner, like riding the Peloton. I hyper focus on like calories, minutes, like everything. Like I'll have to keep setting goals on like the miles, the minutes, whatever. So having the show like right there, I'll still like continue to set goals, but I'm able to like visually focus on the show.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like I'm cheating somehow. But
well, you're like biohacking your brain. Like, hey, let's work together. Look at because I mean, it's probably true for most people, but for ADHD specifically, reward is a huge value system. So if we can attach every habit or stack of habits to a reward, whether it's like a chocolate chip or like, I don't know, 5 planks because you love doing that. If you can attach it to a reward, you're much more naturally motivated. Some people would, those high achieving types.
You can attach it to a reward like a chocolate chip or doing everyone's laundry if you love doing or emptying the dishwasher.
Attached to the binge watching or the chocolate chip. The laundry is word.
Oh my gosh. No, I love it. And it's so funny to me because I mean, granted, yes, you're right. So like I have been experiencing not to the extent that I have in the past, but I've had a lot of depression in the last year. And I am somebody who needs exercise, who needs movement. I mean, since high school, it's just something that has always been incorporated into my life. And I've had like ups and downs with it, of course. This is probably the longest I've gone though. And just like I just would look at my Peloton and all I felt like was I wanted to kind of burn it. And I hated that I couldn't even imagine or remember what it was like to get back on it or to want to exercise. And
Totally.
like you telling me that you're going for a walk, or my girlfriend last week telling me that she's hiking 6 miles every day, and I'm just like mad and annoyed by it.
Well, I will say every one of us needs movement, period. If we didn't call it exercise, it'd be different. And the neural pathways that are healed from outside time are larger than inside movement. But it doesn't mean it has to be that way. Every step is worth it. But yeah, I mean, I had the same, that was like where I needed to pump the brakes, which now we know is perimenopause and high cortisol and combined stress. It's like your body hits, I mean, they're saying mid 30s to early 40s, and it's like, I can't do what I could do anymore, like without figuring out. And again, that's because our parasympathetic system so overloaded. We need to reground, and movement is like the most natural way to reground, but there's lots of like so much. And then it's all related to our vagus nerve. So, it's like a long list of things, but I think it's probably, if you talk to any 36 plus woman, they will be having more consistent patterns of depression, higher anxiety, lower mood, lower motivation. And that's like all related to our hormone fluctuations and the buildup of what life has worn tore at in our systems. So I just think like in your 20s, you just push through, right? But we're just so dysregulated too. Like I think about, I don't know. Okay, this is a tangent, but I think about when I was a young mom and the consistent joke in our house was like the quarterly meltdown. Like every 3 months, it was like the whole world was caving in on me and it was just a ball out. Usually started with a fight between me and my husband because that's where we start, right? The safest person. We're mad at them for doing nothing but everything. And it just became such a consistent. Now I look back and it's like, because I was so unregulated and I was just pushing through, pushing through, pushing through, pushing through. And then it just built where now I'm like, I can't push through if I feel that. Like I have to like pause, take a few breaths and be like, what is this? Like, what's going on? Why am I feeling so stressed about being 2 minutes later than I should be for pickup? Like, but I think back then everything just built. And now it's like, nope, I'm too aware. And also my system's like, yeah, no, sister, you better pump the brakes because we're not going to get through this day if you don't.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you're. So I get it. I was in bed and like I had no motivation. I was like I've been doing yoga since like I don't know, my early 20s every day consistently. And in seasons when it was like too hard with the little kids, it was like, I don't care if I do 15 minutes. That was my goal. And then it ebbs and flows and falls out of life. And then I was like, I just need like simple, kind exercise because everything else felt too much to even work my brain up to. So I get it. And I'm
That's
glad
like,
back.
yeah, I mean, for now, I hope it sticks around. I hope my brain doesn't start telling it that it's not fun anymore. But I'm the same with yoga, and along those same lines, it's like for me, the other piece that was hard is that I'm 41. I cannot do the things that I could do when I was 28. I can't. I can't, nor do I want to run a half marathon at a really great, rate
And you
of
shouldn't
speed. But the thought of going back, another thing that was like holding me back a lot was like, I'm going to suck at this. And I don't want to suck at it. I want to be as good as I was before.
That's like a great point. It's like moving the scale and expectations to what it's not that you're incapable of running a half marathon. It's how much energy will it take from your other values and priorities. Like if you are training, that's a huge commitment of time that now you don't have to give to your business or to your house or to your kids or to your spouse. So I think it's not that we're incapable of, it's that we have a better standard of like where energy goes and what's worthy of it and what's not. So it's kind of like rearranging because there's the whole adage of like aging is so terrible, where I'm like, aging is great. I say no to way more than I ever did in my life, and I have so much more peace than I did because I don't care as much. Like I don't care if I'm there or not. I don't feel like I'm missing out. I don't feel like that's going to make or break a relationship, any of the commitments I say no to. So I think really what it comes down to is yes, our bodies are saying we don't have energy for that, but also it's that I'd rather be a kind, caring mother than a stressed out, in shape mother.
Yeah.
This is my values different, but you can be also in shape and kind. You just have to figure out what works for you and your
Yeah.
body.
Well, and I think it's funny, and I feel like you and I always like agree on this. And sometimes you have to remind me that we agree on it, but sometimes you have to be told it, even though you may like tell, you
Yeah.
teach the right thing. Sometimes it's hard to like, embrace
Yeah.
it and do it yourself.
Yeah.
So, my one of my best friends is in Arizona. I need to come see both of you guys. And she's got two littles. She had babies much later. So it's just really hilarious because I like to remind her of how like unsympathetic and unempathetic she was as I was like, but it's beautiful. Like she's like, how did you do this? Your mom didn't live down the street. Like, how did you had three? But one of the things that I've told her a couple of times is like, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing matters. She's like, I just let him sit in front of the television. Nora, it does not matter at all. Like not even a little bit. Let it go. And it's like those are like little things, but then it's the big things too. And it just makes me think so much of like in those years when the kids are little and we could do it just as easily now. It's like the schedule and the nap and the food and the this and it's all of it is like this like crushing weight on you that has to be done perfectly. And if one thing is wrong, it just all like tumbles down so hard when really it doesn't fucking matter at
Yeah.
all.
And like what you're referring to is the woman's brain of like, it's so layered in that what we were taught. So, like, if you come from a strict religious background, like I did, a mother's role was defined by this list of 1,000 unrealistic things that I wouldn't even know were in my like subconscious as expectations I was placing on myself as a mother. Do I even agree with most of them? No, I don't. But as a mother, that was the standard that I thought I had to meet, right? So all of those are playing in the background. It's like too much of a mental load to fight against. And then you have no energy to be like, so then we land exactly where your friend is, where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And I'm like, girl, you need to do that. Your child's fine. My children are fine. Your children are fine. Like, if they're well loved and safe, that's really all that matters. So lay on the couch with them for an hour of their too much electronic time and then get up and do what you need to do or take your own time. But I think that's just like the mental load of what we carry as women, the expectations. And then so we have a really hard time adapting to change when it's like, I mean, all the energy and time I wasted as a young mom trying to be a mom that fit like the status quo of the environment I was in. I'm like, God, I would give anything to have known the solidarity that and great, right? That's where we grow, right? The solidarity comes from like, well, I'm making these choices and now I don't really care if people judge me or not. But the energy wasted on caring that people were judging it or that I wasn't doing it that way or that that didn't feel good to me intuitively as a mom. Like, I'm like, oh, I would just set all women free to be like, trust yourself. Like, these are your kids on purpose.
Yeah. Stop reading the forum.
Yeah.
Those people are crazy. No, I know. I so agree. And like as you were saying that, I'm just thinking of all the different things that I mean, I had my nipples were literally ripped off by my first, like not even joking. My doctor was puzzled. I had multiple lactation consultants. Nobody could figure it out. It was hanging by a it's so gross. I still have scars. Like here we are talking about it. I still have scars. I won't show you because we're live, but they're there. And it was so gnarly. And I was so obsessed with not just not giving him a bottle, but not letting him have a pacifier, not letting him have like a bottle of breast milk. Like it had to be me. It had to be this way, even if my boobs felt my nipples were ripped off.
Yeah.
And he was drinking blood.
Your milk. Like I had a girlfriend who's like, her milk was pink. because same,
Yeah.
similar.
So like, of course I'm like doing my best as a mother with my nipples hanging off, crying every time I know it's about time to feed him
Oh yeah.
because they're like, he'll never go back to nursing if you do anything else. I ended up getting it. Yeah, we ended up figuring it out. But I was like, that was such like a learning experience because I was just like, dude, why? Why did I believe all of them? Like, why didn't I just do what was going to actually like benefit both of us much more? I got a breast shield,
Yeah.
which saved my life, but it took me calling a friend who I hadn't talked to in forever, who was like one of my only friends who had children, hysterical in Target, just hysterical.
Of course.
And like looking at the options like pacifiers and bottles and formula and everything, looking at all these options as if my world was crushing down on me and I was the biggest failure ever.
Yeah. That's how
And
it feels. I think especially the first time round, it feels so like every decision feels like it is the weight of the world, right? If you make this one wrong, then it's the domino effect of, and those are the books we were reading too when we became moms, because like I wanted an at-home water birth so bad. Obviously couldn't with my my first pregnancy because it was a fatal diagnosis. But like the grieving of having to give up that desire because I was so hooked on it being the one way, which I guess there's where we like get the wisdom on the backside of like there is no one way, and whatever you pick, just know that like you're gonna learn from it and grow from it. Because then when we had Rowan, it was like I don't care, he can have a binky, and I tried for 3 days, 48 hours, and he was the neediest, and he would never get off my boob if there was no binky involved. So
my kids would never take one. None of them would ever take one. I'm like,
oh, he would take it. It was an obsession, strong obsession.
I wish.
So yeah, but it didn't save it from him being like a totally attached, needing to nurse all the time because now looking back, he probably had, well, they did call it colic, but he had probably major, I don't know, food allergies. I changed you never really get the full answers.
Yeah.
But he did have some sort of food allergies. I don't know what. Selman discovered that 17 years later because now he eats fine and has no problems.
Yeah. But don't you think there's kind of a part of it too? That's like, because I feel like every time it's like, oh yeah, well, colic or reflux, and Georgia was really bad. I mean, she would throw up a lot.
Yeah.
But there's also this other part of me that's like, yeah, well, this baby's been given perfect food inside your body.
Yeah.
For so long. And like, yes, it's breast milk and that is good, but there is a lot that they're like having to get used to at once. Like, it's not going to be fun.
Well, not to mention, which we don't talk about, like just the overstimulation of being birthed into a world, like when they lived in darkness and comfort with light noise. I mean, we just don't even like acknowledge that baby is rapidly adjusting to a world that's brand new. So
like every second trauma, like so weird.
Us in our gut. So, like you're just like, oh, even on that end, it makes sense. And they feel our energy because our energy is what they were used to the whole time. So if we're like stressed out, tense mamas, which I was without trying to be, there's also that layer in there. So you're like, it's never just one thing, but it did shape how I parented. So I'm grateful for that. It sucks that he had to struggle.
I still tell Jameson, I'm like, look, I'm as new at life here as you are. Okay. Like I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm going to do it a lot better for the other ones, but like you get like 1.0, mom 1.0. Sorry.
You get the training wheels.
Yeah. You're taking one for the team, kid.
Like isn't fully functional yet.
You did not ask for this.
I know, but they're good. So we're doing all right. I think
everyone's doing all right. That's pretty much all we have to say.
Yep. I mean, I'll strip it all down. It's like, are they loved? Yep. Are they safe? Yep. Okay, they're good. Everything else is workoutable.
Yeah.
So.
I know. I just have to get my kids to start helping out around the house. I don't know. That is like.
Oh, okay. You want to hear about an awesome app for that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, it's called the S'mores app. But your kids are on the cusp of a little bit, they're still good ages. Like my 17-year-old barely touches it, but it's just S'mores app. And you can put all of these in. I pay my kids like tiny money because they already get an allowance, but you can have like family chores that are optional, but like on Saturdays and like everyone has to pick a family chore. So it'll be like the stuff that who has time to do it, like washing out your garbage can. Nope, don't have time to do that. Someone else can take it outside and go ahead and scrub that out. And they get anywhere from like a quarter to 50 cents. The bathrooms are like $2. So when they want extra money, they just take it off. But then they each have their daily. So they get paid for medical things like their bowel routines and stuff like that, just because I feel like it's an extra treat. But then practical things like doing their homework without asking. Like a lot of the rules of this is I don't have to manage it.
Yeah.
You can check it off. The money goes into your account. When you want to get paid out, I pay you out. But we implemented it in just May because I was like going crazy. I'm like, I just need more help. Like there's no way anyone can run a household on their own. And Mike's super helpful, but it's still like, it doesn't matter. When you have kids, it just doesn't matter. So we implemented it then, and definitely I would say 2 out of 4 were highly motivated by it. And then, our 13-year-old is ADHD. So it takes a little bit like, hey, did you check your list? But she'll look at it and check it off because she wants her money for Sephora, Whereas
Ulta. Yeah.
I didn't start shopping at Ulta till I was like 27, but sure, you can.
My daughter has better skincare than I do, and it's stupid.
Oh, for sure. Like one of my 11-year-old's friends who's 9, so she's 9 for her 9th birthday, got Drunk Elephant. And I was like,
oh yeah.
It's for aging skin. Did you miss the note that she's 9 and there's no aging happening?
Right. And like, hello, skin barrier. Like, you're not even going to have any.
You're
breaking that down. Like,
True.
Stop. It kills me. Anyways.
I was just like, oh, it's interesting how that's a trend and not like researched. Like, there are great lines for teens and preteens. And also, we just like use coconut oil and tallow balm and call it a day. If I can talk my girls into it. Can we still
Vaseline and coconut oil? That's all you need.
Not Vaseline, but Penelope did buy Vaseline and thought it was like the coolest thing ever. And I was like, clearly you have not grown up with access to this.
Right. So gross.
Okay, anyway.
All right. Well, there it is there. Next time, maybe we'll actually get to talking about our favorite show.
Well, we'll just tell you to check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
And
it's called Nobody Wants This.
Nobody Wants This with Kristen Bell.
I need to figure out when the next season is coming. I hope it's like tomorrow.
I think it's going to be like a long time again, like every show.
Hate that so much.
Fact check what show I'm thinking of. I'll text you right after this.
Okay. We'll let you know. There it is there. Katie calls her friends, Katie and Megan.
Just a little real life.
I have like 6 things that we came across that would make entire topics, but this is a good intro to how we're never actually going to stay on topic.
How we'll just giggle and jump all over, and then you can fact check and research what we throw out into the world.
Yeah. Tell us about what we're wrong about. And
yep, here for it.
We know we're right about everything else, so you don't have to, but you can let us know.
Definitely know I misquote things.
I might have just made that up, but
I definitely know that.
All right. I love you. I'll call you in 5 minutes.
Okay, bye.